A live stream. I was trying to give you guys a little peace. I was trying to give you guys a little tour of the campus. What's up? Yeah. What's good, King Marquise? Peace. My brother Dr. Boyce Watkins is gonna hop on. We're gonna talk about some current events. He's coming on. We're gonna talk about some current events. Greetings, everyone, live from the Black House. I was gonna do this from the front lawn outside. It's a beautiful day, but we had a major corporation rent out our entire campus, so I am restraint to the office, but we want that lease money, that rental money. Tulsa Real Estate Fund, Treff Life, leasing out our campus. So anyway, Dr. Boyce is coming on. We're going to talk about some of the current events happening in the world, in the community. Doc should be on just shortly. Appreciate you guys for chiming in. I did somewhat of my own rendition, talking about solutions on violence in our community, rappers dying too young. I want to hear some of Dr. Boyce's comments on that. And also want to touch on Kanye a little bit and his conflict, I guess, with the Gap and other networks and outlets. So we want to talk about that a little bit. Just current events vibe. Me and Dr. Boyce have to get together and do some current events together, share perspectives, and those kind of things. He should be hopping on any minute. I told him 3 o'clock. I was a few minutes late trying to find my location, so we'll give Doc some grace. What's up with you all? What is, if everyone can, how about this real quick? What is your biggest blessing this week? If you could put in the chat your biggest blessing. What's your biggest blessing this week? But also, what is your biggest challenge this week? Or just in life, right? At this state in your life. What is your biggest blessing? What is your biggest challenge? For me, I'll go challenge first. And that is just so much to do. I work hard and vigorous. And I chip away at to-do list. And then I look up and it's like, still more to do. It's like call, email, work, underwrite, scrub, tour. It's like, it don't stop. But that might also be the blessing, honestly, is that I'm active, I'm healthy. I have businesses that are moving. We have momentum growing. We've survived storms and pandemics and everything else. So that's my blessing and my challenge. What about you all? What are the blessings and what are the challenges? Make sure my do not disturb is on. My wife and my business are my biggest blessings. There you go. You got some points for that one. Being patient and let God is my challenge. Yeah, let God do God. While we got to do our work, but we got to let God do God. I'm still alive. My challenge is learning all of this real estate. It is a lot to learn, but it's so worth it. Because what you're learning in real estate, you now can pass it on to your family and your heirs. And now they have a way shorter learning curve because of the investment and time and sacrifice that you made. So now they don't got to learn as much because they're going to grow up knowing it. Where we got to learn from scratch, right? So we're still learning about wealth building. We're still learning about tax strategies. We're still learning about flipping and ROIs and syndications and 1031 tax exchanges and all that. But our heirs are going to have a big leg up because of all this work we're doing. Biggest blessing is my support system and my nephews. All right, I love that. That was Beamer the GOAT. Blessings being healthy. Challenges being patient enough to learn stocks and real estate. And that's the Johnny Crown. Yeah, it's a fact. Like, you trying to learn 2 industries. It's some work. Challenge is my sister's husband's died. Well, God rest the dead. And bless the dead and bless your family. Challenge, relearning all the things I thought I knew about financial literacy. Yo, soon you thought you was financially lit, you found out it was a whole nother level to that joint, huh? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna text Dr. Boyce. Let him know I was on. We'll have Dr. Boyce on in a second. Talk some current events with you all. Right now, we're talking about blessings and challenges. Challenges staying outside my comfort zone sometimes. And then finding good help to delegate to. Listen, that's my challenge. There we go. Let's talk about that challenge. The good help to delegate to. That be a big one. The good qualified help. The good loyal help. The good professional help. The good on time help. Astute help. Integrous help. All that good help to delegate to and to work with and partner with. That is a challenge, especially as many of us as entrepreneurs and legacy builders, for sure, 100%. What else we got in here? We're talking about challenges and blessings. Scroll through the comments. Health and family blessing. Challenges being patient and trusting the process. Yeah. I think a lot of us got that, right? Pan out the other side. But we gotta understand that like with every blessing is three things happen: seed, time, and harvest. There's always seed, time, and harvest. And you plant your seeds, you need time and the process that happens within time for your seeds to nurture, to break down. Sometimes your seeds gotta die. Actually, every seed has to die in order to then to grow. So your seed has to die and to produce fruit, and it takes time. And that's just part of the process. So it's like, what do we do in that time where we're still productive, where we still have peace, where we're still creating momentum while the process and time is happening before our harvest? And I think that's where a lot of us get stuck at, is what do we do in that process time, in that downtime? Let me see. Dr. Boyce should be hopping in any minute. Supposed to be going live together. Let's see where he's at. Hold on, fam. I don't see a request from him. So, Dr. Boyce should be in any minute. He probably got caught in the call. I know him. But we're going to be talking about a little bit of current events. I don't even know this mermaid thing he's talking about, like some racist mermaid. I kind of caught a whim of it, but I don't be in all the gossip and all the current events like that. But we'll talk about that. I want to hear from him on that. We'll talk about Kanye a little bit and his business journeys and revolutionary work, and then challenges in our community, violence, murders, rappers dying too young, what we can do about it, should do about it, and just keeping a conversation, a productive solution conversation going. That's my thing. It's like, I don't mind talking about the current events. I don't mind being a part of the trendy gossip, the trendy news, but it gotta circle back to solutions, or we're wasting our time. I'm wasting my time, you're wasting your time if we're not talking about solutions. So it's about learning from these adversities, these obstacles, these challenges, and just learning from life, man. Life be lifing. That's my saying. Life be lifing in real life. And but God be God to know. So we gotta learn how do we maneuver through life? How do we continue to take every obstacle thrown at us, but understand that we got goals? And to me, excuses are really just your bailout to putting in the work or the discipline or sacrifice required that is needed to hit your goals. If you have a big obstacle, it just means you got to put in bigger work or bigger innovative thinking or be more strategic. Like there's no excuse to anything that we should allow us to stop us from our goals. Right? We got to figure out how to pivot, how to rework, all of that. And that's the energy I'm on, right? It's like self-account. Like basically, there are some legitimate excuses out there. But at the end of the day, self-accountability should drive you, and achieving your goals should drive you to say, yo, even though I had this horrible thing happen in my life that would have took down most people, I'm so motivated to reach my goal. Because at the end of the day, if you don't reach your goal, even if it was a good reason, you still didn't reach your goal. So even if you say, well, yo, I was sick, I had COVID, or even you say, you know what, it was like, you still didn't reach your goal. So even if the excuse was good, oh man, I grew up in a single parent home, you know, I grew up in the hood, or I got 3 felonies, and that's why I'm broke. I mean, that's legitimate, right? You grew up rough, right? You made some mistakes, but at the end of the day, you're still broke. So the excuse doesn't solve the problem. The excuse might make you feel better, or it might feel like you got an escape clause or something, but you still didn't reach the goal. You still got a problem, and that's from a community level down to a family level down to an individual level. It's like no. My thing is no excuses, just results. What's the result, and what's the outcome? You know what I'm saying? What's the outcome of the things that you are pursuing? And all we want is even if it's like not right now, right? Even if it's like I don't get my outcome right now or in a time frame I expected, but as long as I'm getting my outcome, right? Like that should be our goal. Quinn, you want to call Dr. Boyce for me? He's supposed to be on. But so what else we got going on? So I wasn't planning on going live by myself. The Doc's supposed to be here. He's gonna be here. But we try to do current events together every Thursday if we can, or however often we can. But can you hit Dr. B for me, please? You have his info? Or no? I do.
Also, for whatever reason, your signal is a little choppy. It keeps pausing on calls or something.
No, it keeps pausing because I keep trying to go to my text to see if I'm getting identification. Okay, this is a good one. Let's do Q&A since we're here. Cool. How do you identify what opportunities to get in? So are we talking about, well, you got different kind of opportunities, right? You have income opportunities, and you have impact opportunities. And I peace kings, peace queens. From an impact standpoint, I like to align myself and get involved with things that meet my vision, my calling, and what God put on my heart to do here on this earth, right? That's my purpose. And we all should identify that purpose. What is the thing that nudges us, that the unction that we get, the thing that bothers us the most to solve? That's our purpose, right? And so I like to align things with that align with that. My purpose, I really believe, is to play as big of a part as I can in a world problem, and a American problem, and a community problem, which is unity, justice, and repair for Africans in America and abroad. Basically, all the injustice, all the oppression, all the trauma, all the redlining, all the Jim Crow, all the mass incarceration, all the school to prison pipeline, all the dirty water systems, all the issues we see in our community, I constantly look at not pointing just to a government to fix it, or pointing to another nationality to fix it, or pointing to a rapper to fix it, or entertainer to fix it. I always point back at myself and be like, yo, what can you do to fix these problems? You identify the problem, so you can't say it's like Jay-Z, LeBron, Oprah, Barack, whoever. I look at myself as an accountable party for playing my position in how we solved the lack of unity in our community, the lack of justice that we receive, and the lack of repair that we have. So I like to align myself and impact things that meet that mission. On the income side, I like to get in situations that align with my ROI targets or my cash flow targets. and particularly those I represent over 14,000 families and small businesses that are part of our Tulsa Real Estate Fund. So I love to find opportunities that can impact our funds, cash flow, revenue, and ROI goals. So I just reverse engineer and work backwards, and I get caught up in the mix of things. Because there's so many opportunities, so many options, so many things presented to you. But I like to try to strip away. And one of my new words, one of my key words right now is focus. It's like on my desk. Is just being more laser about what I get into. A lot of times, like especially right now in the information age with social media, we all bounce around and we like do so much because there's so much presented to us. But we got to get to a point of like laser focus though. CEO Matty J in the building. What up, King? I see you traveling the globe right now. So yeah, so I like to try to be focused as possible, and a lot of times it looks sexy and looks fancy to be big and wide, and we love the word scale. Everyone loves the word scale, but there's a genius about simplicity and about focus. There literally is. And I've learned this like late in my career. Like obviously I've done a lot in my career, you know what I'm saying? Like I've done a lot and I've been really proud of it, but honestly if I could do some things over again, I probably would approach a lot of my endeavors with more focus. But again, my vision is so big and my passion and purpose is so big and so much I want to accomplish that I end up again looking to create businesses, partnerships, models that can positively affect a really big problem, which is political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. It sounds mad fancy, but Malcolm X said it, not me. So I try to fix big problems, man. Like I feel like God gave me a really complex mind and a talent or gifts to comprehend complex situations and come up with robust and complex solutions. So I like to use my gifts to the highest power. That's my vibe. I think we all should look at our gifts and figure out how can we use them to, the most of our ability. So I don't know what's going on with Dr. B. I supposed to have Dr. Boyce Watkins on, my brother. We actually are going to be doing his conference October 27th, I believe, through the 30th, the All Black National Convention, not conference. And I was part of it last year, B1 conference. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was literally like one of the biggest levels of black excellence on display I've ever seen in my life. It literally was. And we're going back for this year, All Black National Convention. I'll be keynoting amongst others. I believe my wife is also, Ernestine Morrison, going to be a part of that. Dr. B and Queen Alicia, Riza Islam, and others. So you can actually go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you guys want to check that out. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh, there he goes. Dr. B's in the building. See, I told him about the conference. He pops up. That's aha. The convention. So I'm looking forward to that in Charlotte. But I'm going to invite Dr. B in now. He just popped in a request. And let's talk about some current events real quick, man. I got y'all warmed up. There he goes.
What's up, man?
My big brother. What's up?
Not much, man. You my big brother. Last time I checked, you was taller than me. You my tall brother. I wish I was. How tall are you, by the way? What, 6'4", 6'3"?
6'3".
Okay. That's great, man. Natural leader.
I'll take it.
Yeah, tall, smart, charismatic, brother. You got all the gifts, man. A lot of respect for you. How you been?
Likewise. I've been amazing, man. Just going with the flows of life and staying rooted and growing and maturing and just on the journey, on the path. How about yourself?
Okay. Yeah, me, I'm doing good, man. I had a car accident in Tulsa. I went to visit my brother. Yeah, hanging out on Black Wall Street, man, and just got hit. It's pretty bad. Could have been pretty bad, but we made it out all right.
God bless you, man.
Yeah.
Accident on Black Wall Street.
Yeah, it was close. We were close to it. You know, Tulsa's not a big city, you know, but I took some pictures over there and hung out with family, saw my niece and nephew. My brother is in the venture capital space now, and he's connected with a group called TechStars. And they have franchises all around the world. And it's harder to get into TechStars than it is to get into Harvard, right? Like it's an incubator where they basically prepare businesses to go out and become these billion-dollar unicorns or whatever, right? And in Tulsa, there's a brother named Trey who went to Harvard, and Trey is 100% B1. He's super black. So Trey has the old. Say it again.
I met with Trey. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So Trey has the only all-black chapter of TechStars in the world. And so I met all these brothers that have these amazing like businesses, dude, that are like already worth over 100 million. There's like a bunch of brothers, man. And what was really inspiring was like I don't even know if people like that even pay attention to people that do what we do. You know what I mean? I don't know how mainstream our brands are. Man, almost all the guys came up and were like, man, yeah, I was in the Black Business School. I learned so much from you, and I started my business because of you. So it was really awesome to me because it's like the beginning of this revolution that I think you and I have a chance to be a part of, which is where, like, I think eventually when you start blending like this unapologetic blackness with like billions of dollars worth of capital and resources and economic power that guys like that are going to have, it's going to be amazing.
That is amazing. And we start finding out, man, as like the world has opened up post-pandemic, and I have started meeting so many other business owners who aren't online, who aren't personalities, but who are making big money, big impact, great organizations. But everyone's starting to kind of unite. That gap is being bridged a little bit because of all of our time of having to be online because of the pandemic. So now business owners who normally wouldn't be online or networking online have now built some kind of online presence, or at least networking wise, because of the pandemic. And now it's like a smaller world right now.
Yeah, I think so too. Even multi-billion-dollar companies are doing a lot more online than they were before. You know, like you look at companies like Disney, for example, they just accelerated their whole online streaming business because the pandemic gave them no choice. And so in some ways, it created like an interesting space. I was like, okay, does this mean that like this? Because before we were like the cool kids. We were the only ones really doing a lot of stuff online. There weren't a lot of people there. Right. And then suddenly everybody's online, right? All the celebrities are bored. You know, they're out touring the world, and now they have to get there online with the rest of us. And I was like, what's this going to be like? And what I found was that it allowed us to be the canaries in the mine from a business standpoint. Like people got there, and we were already posted up. You know what I mean? We'd already set up our online presence. And so 2020 was an awesome year, man, in terms of growth, business-wise, and connectivity amongst our people. Even if you look at just the stuff, for example, that Ice Cube was doing politically, I think he was doing a lot of that because he was bored now. You know, he was stuck at home. So it's like, oh, well, let me just see what's going on with this black stuff. Next thing you know, he's become, you know, one of the most significant political activists of this generation. You know, so I thought it was great, man. I think the pandemic really shook up the world in a good way and kind of accelerated what I think was inevitably going to occur regardless.
Yeah, I agree. So I want to hop into some current events. Someone put a good note in here that I'll tap on real quick. There's a mortgage company, Legacy Home Loans, black-owned mortgage company, national mortgage company. They have a special real estate program, mortgage program for first-time buyers or black homeowners that I don't have all the details in front of me right now, but it is a special credit program. I think it's like 1% or less down payment, all that. I just met with one of the founders before this call. So as a person put this in the chat, I just met with the founder, Nick Goucher, really bright brother. And, we collaborate and do some amazing things. But there's some great banking programs out there that are countering some of the programs you're seeing from Bank of America, some of the larger institutions who are posing to be a minority inspired loan programs. But I impacted one of my lives. I wanted to actually talk to you about it last week, but Bank of America marketed this loan for Black and Hispanic, borrowers or areas, but the loan's for everybody. It's
Oh,
just
really? It's for everybody?
yeah, they just market it like the big headlines are Bank of America launches minority initiative, Black and Hispanics, blah, 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 blah. But they literally say in the article, because I read the article, that the loan is not for Blacks and Hispanics, it's for everybody. But it's no money down. It's like no credit score requirement. It's rolling out in 5 cities: Los Angeles, Dallas, Detroit, a few other cities, Charlotte, where we're going to be at the All Black National Convention. Is rolling out in these cities, no money down, no credit score requirement. There's even like a soft job requirement or income requirement. All these great benefits, which we can take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
But it's targeting our communities, but it's for everybody.
Right. So they're kind of using us in a way for marketing purposes.
They PR by saying it's for us, but then they get to drive not only us, but also white people and other people to our communities to buy up homes in Dallas, in Detroit, in Los Angeles with 0% down, and basically accelerate gentrification by those who might be more qualified than even us to take advantage of this low qualification loan. You got to pass a home buyer class to do it, etc. So, I mean, I'm not, I don't like to be a pessimist or like a conspiracy theorist or like, there's benefits for us. Flat out, there's benefits that we can take advantage of. However, I know paperwork and I read the devil in the details. And if something is being marketed for us, but it's for everyone, there's something there. Now, back to legacy home loans, Black-owned National Mortgage Company, they have a program specifically for Africans in America, Black people. They have a program specifically for us that's very competitive to the Bank of America program. So I wanted to just on that since someone brought it up, and I think it is worth commenting on.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about. I mean, and if it's a Black-owned company, I'd rather support them anyway. I don't particularly know Bank of America being especially good at supporting the things that people like you and I are trying to do. So I think in general, I'll tell you, I found that things were just a lot easier once I got my personal credit score up and my business credit score up. Once you do that, and then you figure out how to generate, consistent cash flow, whatever you're doing, it's easier to get financing. But I think things are changing. I thought about what you said when, as the Fed keeps hiking up interest rates, I remember what you said about getting the equity out of your house, get it now. And now, you're seeing home values starting to go down. And I saw a story that said that tappable equity has actually started to go down for people. And so so I think that generally real estate's a good place to be. There's a lot of opportunities there. It's worth learning, but it's like sort of you always have to kind of stick and move, and I don't think that the country's ready to really do the things that it should be doing in terms of compensating or making up for the lack of opportunity that Black people have received for hundreds of years, right?
I purely believe that the general country, meaning governmental system and corporate mentality is, how can we do enough to get everybody off our ass and appear to be doing something that's enough that just shuts it up and closes the door? It's not like, hey, how can we really solve this problem? Right? How can we really have redress? How can we really offer repair aid? Right? Can we use the word reparation all the time? So reparation has this muddy, icky name, right? And I talk about it in my book, The Solution. You can love reparations or hate reparations or whatever. But when you look at what reparation really is other synonyms for reparation is repair. Repair aid, repair resources, or redress. Redress is basically like, how do I atone or make whole for some mistakes that I made or some trauma or damage that I caused? That's redress. And so the country and the corporate participants haven't really shown any real interest, right? We can identify the problems, the school systems, the water, the violence, and we're going to talk about some of these things during this live. We can talk about them, but there's not a real sentiment that I sense that, even folks, many in our community, that really want to address the problem and really implement robust and comprehensive solutions. It's like, how do we do enough for the news cycle?
Yeah, I think you know, they're not doing the right thing. They're not going to do the right thing for a very long time. And part of the reason they don't do the right thing is because we're not making them do the right thing. I think that the steps that are required for us to graduate to a level where we receive reparations and everything else that we want, one of those steps we cannot skip is the step of educating our people and getting us on some sort of accord where we simply demand what we deserve. Just the fact that I get so much shit in every election because I refuse to tell black people to run out and vote for a Democrat or a Republican. That right there tells me y'all ain't ready. You ain't gonna get shit from these motherfuckers because you are sitting there letting them pimp you and lie to you and give you nothing, and you feel like you gotta go vote. You're pressuring all your friends to go out and vote for nothing. Well, that tells me you don't deserve reparations. You ain't ready. Because it's simple. The solution's easy. All you do is you say, when they show up to your church and they eating barbecue chicken with the pastor and they swinging back and forth, when they start singing all the hymns and they say, come vote for me. You say, I will come vote for you. I just need to see the reparations plan first. If you do that and we do that consistently, then guess what? They're going to do what politicians do, which is they will give you what you need to get in order to get your vote. But what's happening really is that it's really a battle of ideas. It's a battle of culture. It's a battle of it's really even a marketing battle. So when you and I are out here speaking, and I'm saying things like, make sure you don't vote for nothing. Make sure you get something for your vote. Dr. Claude Anderson saying, you're saying, a lot of people say this. That message is being contradicted by major urban radio stations with paid off Negroes who got a big check from the Democrats to basically herd black people along like sheep. To play their role as political bosses, so rappers will come. I know a rapper who's pretty conscientious, man. You and I both know a lot of artists and whatever. One guy, I remember, he told me, he said that when I went onto an urban radio station, they told me that I can only talk about the Democratic Party. I cannot talk about the Republicans on any level. I cannot talk about options that black people have. He said, they told me I can't even talk about Bernie Sanders. And he said, they told me if I brought up Bernie Sanders, they would cut me off. And it was because of the money, right? So to me, when you're talking about things like black wealth, us educating ourselves and each other, and when you talk about black-owned media, all these things factor into our political possibilities and disposition and opportunities in the future. Because all politics really is it sinks back to a big marketing campaign. How do politicians get elected? They raise a bunch of money, they run up trillion ads, and they eventually their message breaks through the noise. So black-owned media, black-owned platforms that are used to advance the interests of black people are a critical part of us eventually obtaining the political sovereignty that we deserve. And I believe it's going to happen. It's just not going to happen right away.
Yeah, there's so many points in that. But one is I'm part of the Hip Hop Caucus. I just partnered with them recently, who has they have a voting initiative. The founder is his name is Rev. I forgot Rev's last name. They've been doing it for 18 years. But what I love about what I've heard from him so far, from his own mouth and from their own mission, is not red, is not blue. It's be informed. Be informed. And my advocacy is like, look, I'm not being a part of no political movement of nothing that doesn't promote, hey, it's not about party. It's not about the politician. It's about what's your policies, what's your position, things that affect me most, and what's your plan? What's your policy on reparations? What's your position on reparations? And what's your plan? What's your policy on healthcare or economics or education or housing or whatever? What's your position? What's your plan? If I don't agree or can't understand those things, then I can't vote for you. I'm not voting a party. I'm not even voting a person. Policy, your plan, and your position. So I like the fact that this organization, Hip Hop Caucus, embraced that. It wasn't whoa, you're crazy, right? Like that was like, oh yeah, liberate. It used words like liberation, right? So I was like, I can get, or at least look to align with an organization like that. So that was pretty cool. And I like that. In that caucus, they mentioned that the Senator Warnock here has $100 million war chest for marketing.
Yeah.
Like, yo, we talk about raising money to end poverty and for school systems and water in Mississippi and prison reform. And, yo, this is one measly weaselly senator, not even like the biggest state in the country, who has $100 million war chest for marketing. While there's homelessness all downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like, yo, and he's not the only, there's billions of dollars spent for marketing for positions of power.
Yep.
But we don't even have.
And that's one of the reasons why I get a little glossy-eyed when I start listening to people explaining, like, one of the keys to Black power is to raise money to get people elected and all that stuff. I'm not saying that doesn't work or that it's not relevant. I'm saying that when you come to me and you say, okay, well, the first thing you got to do to have influence in Georgia is you got to find a way for Black people to raise $100 million for a war chest for a politician. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I ain't got $100 million. I ain't got it.
I don't want to spend it on that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spend $100 million on political ads. I think that I would spend $100 million. You know what I would do with $100 million? One of the things, let's say I was doing it in the state of Georgia, I would hire just a few of the best Black educators and administrators that we could find to educate as many of our children as possible on the things that they need in order to grow into whatever you are. You know what I mean? Or whatever Dr. Claude Anderson is. Mm-hmm. I would literally want to have independent schools that are disconnected from this horrible, tragically bad public school system and just raise these children to be 100% devoted economic and political soldiers for the Black community. And to me, that means that you're talking about raising young men that understand reading, writing, and math. They understand real estate, stocks, and business ownership at a very high level. They have excellent relationships with each other where they can work together and build entities at an early age. They understand Black history and what their sense of purpose is. And they're literally taking that power and that energy, and they're going out in the world just kicking ass and taking names. They're ready for the competition. That's what life is. Life ain't nothing but a goddamn competition. And too many of our children show up to the game weak, unprepared, ain't practiced, no equipment, no battle plan, don't even know what a football looks like, and you trying to win the damn Super Bowl. The white man got his kids ready. Jewish people got their kids ready. Asian people getting their kids ready. I want our sons and daughters ready. Like, I would literally think of a school like that, or set of schools, almost like a boot camp, like just the Blackness boot camp. All the bullshit that I know I'm cussing a lot today. I'm gonna try not to cuss as much, but all the shit that you learn in these damn public schools, about 70% of that is stuff you will never use in your life. Why in the world are you wasting all that valuable time? These kids got to be ready for war, man. I mean, the racism is not a game. They will take your ass out. You and I are looking around, we're seeing rappers getting killed on every corner. We're seeing young kids that have no skill whatsoever. You get to 18, you can't do nothing. You can't fix a house. You can't do plumbing. You don't know how to fix a car. You can't even work at a fast food restaurant because you can barely read. How are you going to make it? How are you going to succeed? So I just really think this is really like a culture war. And what we got to do is take over that culture. Like people like you and I and those of us who give a damn, I think that we have to position others like ourselves to really, really grab onto the resource that matters most in our community, which is our young people. And because one of the biggest reasons that Black people cannot move forward is because you handed over your children to these terrible systems and the people running them who are designing your children to be weak and ineffective at almost every single thing that they do. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that in Powernomics. He said that since slavery, the goal was to make sure that the Black community was a loyal, devoted group of hardworking people who were unprepared to be competitive with the white man. And that's exactly what they still do today.
Let me teach you how to be. That's it. Literally, they're like, we're going to teach you. Come to our schools. Hey, Africans, you're free now. Come to our schools, and we're going to teach you how to be in this society. This is how you be.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your books. Here's your curriculum. And I appreciate you so much because you gave us a specific solution antidote. And imagine if we all, everybody's online now, like, oh yeah, financial literacy and credit and real estate and Toro and e-commerce and stocks and options and Forex. That's great. But imagine if we all had this information 20 and 30 years ago in greater, how dynamic would the community be now? How many more of our sons and daughters wouldn't be on the pole or in the prison or on the corner? This is a fact. If more of our dads 30 years ago, 40 years ago understood stocks and options trading, understood real estate equity and appreciation, understood syndicating multifamily apartment complexes, understood tax mitigation strategies, understood life insurance, how much more opportunities will we have, or at least exposure could we have given a 15-year-old or a 7-year-old Jay Morrison, instead of knowing my dad was a drug dealer, my uncle was a drug dealer, my mom was a drug dealer, and my grandfather was a drug dealer? What if my grandfather was a stockbroker and my dad was an insurance agent and my mom was a real estate agent, right? The level of exposure options I would have had earlier, and I wouldn't have had 3 felonies by 21 and have to make a miracle comeback story of my life at 25 years old. These are the opportunities, and these are the future we can see with a solution vision like the one you just gave. And I agree with you. I have under my desk an African American repair curriculum. It's a 30-part curriculum all for repair, teaching us all the things that we didn't learn over again. Teach us conflict resolution, anger management. We have trauma, right? There's things past finances we got to learn. There's guys who are experts in financial literacy but are shitty people. Right? So we can build a war chest of black men who know how to get money, but who are shitty people.
Yeah.
Or don't know how to resolve business conflicts professionally or amicably or with dignity. But outside of just finance and blackness, there's some character development in repair that we have to do. So we can actually, because like, think about it. Part of the issue we have, even politically, is that we don't know how to have discourse in a dignified and brotherly and sisterly way. So because you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or you think we should do this and I think we should do this and I don't like reparations and you like reparations, we then disrespect each other, and therefore we break the opportunity for even future builds and bonds to even do future business together because you disrespected me over something that we disagreed on. Why can't we disagree without disrespect? So, yeah, I believe in reparations, but pretend I didn't. So I don't like reparations. You do. Why can't we agree or disagree on that point? I totally don't like your point on that point. But you believe in we should have our own nation. I believe we should have our own nation. I believe in having our own flag. You believe we should have our own flag. Okay, we'll agree on this point then. How can we build there? As opposed to me totally disrespect you because of one part of our comprehensive issue we have that you don't agree with. So my point is, in getting into rappers dying too early, I want to get to our current events, rappers dying too early. My contention was there's a 2-part solution to violence in our community. Just 2 parts, literally, to solve 100% of our violence issues and our murder issues. Just 2 parts. One is what you said, teaching us earlier how to get more money. Part of the issues, like for instance, I can't say this, I won't ever say it, but one of the most violent things I ever did or almost did in my 10 years in the streets was not a beef about disrespect, but it was about somebody who was getting money in a town that we were looking to get money in. And because of us only having that one way of getting money, which is hustling on the corner, it caused our minds to think of violent things in order to solve the problem.
It's kind of like fighting over a girl when you don't realize there's more fish in the sea. You know, if I got a pretty girl over here, I'm not gonna fight you over a girl. But if we're looking at the same girl, it's World War III.
Right. That ain't all the girls in the world. That ain't all the blocks in the world, right? There's more ways to get money. So when you see, for instance, there's been a few rappers who have died early because of the 2 parts. One is money and one is conflict resolution, aka beefs. That's the only reason why murders and violence happens. It's over money or conflict resolution or lack of.
Mm.
It's either I'm jealous of what you have and I'm a robber, I'm a stick-up kid, kind of lazy. I'm too lazy to build my credit and get a $50,000 loan on my LLC. I'd rather rob you for a Rolex and go to a pawn shop to get 20 grand.
Mm.
It's either that, it's over money, or someone said ego. But the whole ego thing is conflict resolution. When someone disrespects you online, someone disrespects you in the club, someone cuts you off in a car, someone tries to holler at your girl, all those things can all be resolved by conversation, by communication, by walking away. All that ego pride shit, oh, you ain't gonna play with me. I'm gonna show you. You play with me, I'm gonna show you.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that's all a lack of conflict resolution. Because you played with me by calling me a name, now I gotta show you violently who I am. I gotta risk my life, risk my freedom to try to take your life or do violent harm to you because of my pride, because of my ego, because of the culture saying, I gotta show you who I am. For me to be a gangster or thorough black man, it has to be violent. Why can't my thoroughness or gangsterness be that I can take you calling me words and I can spin that whole thing around to diffuse this whole thing or show how weak you are and how big I am without any violence. Those are the two areas why we have these early deaths and violence in our community, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that what you said is 100% on point. You know, it's you talk about having options to get money. I think about T Grizzly, who's a great artist. My son introduced me to his music. I thought he was very talented, and I loved how he now makes all this money playing video games now, right? He's got a Discord server, and they play Grand Theft Auto, and he makes $200,000 a month on this Discord server, and he brought in all his boys, and he articulated exactly what you said. He said that I was able to get my friends who were making money in the street and show them, hey, this is another way we can make money without going to jail and dealing with all the other stuff, right? Yep. And you're right, that is one of the very simple solutions. If you teach them multiple ways to fish that don't involve having to beg for a job or kiss a white man's ass, a lot of these guys will embrace that. A lot of black men are not built for this economic system. They're just not. There's something that is emasculating about it. It's very hard for a proud man to bow to another man who disrespects him at that level, at the level that white men have disrespected us for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. When I think about slavery and the humiliation of that, I'd rather just be dead. Just fucking kill me. That's it. I don't want to be tortured. I don't want to bow. So let's just have it out. Hopefully I'll die and it'll be over.
That's a good point why many people risk their freedom to go to prison. They're like, screw it. Rather than be told what to do and be humiliated like that, I'd rather take my chances in the street.
Right. Now, here's the downside of some of that, right? This is where we have to address the culture, particularly what these record labels are pumping out to our kids. Sometimes I think they touch the fire because they don't know how hot it is. They've never done years in solitary confinement. They don't know what that feels like to have your freedom taken away from your family for years and years. So in one moment, process this. This is a very scary, dangerous line that our sons have to walk, and our daughters too, is the line that says you can make a decision in a 5-minute span or less that has you incarcerated for 80 years. Wow. And so the brilliance behind a movie like Eddie Murphy, when he made Life, him and Martin Lawrence made that movie Life. I like that movie a lot because I believe that one subtle thing they were trying to do was to show them, like, this is what really happens when the excitement is over. The excitement of the crime, you in the street, you the man, you thugging, you'll pop a cap on anybody, you do whatever, right? Then they show you how boring it is and how terrible how painful it is to spend the next 60, 70, 80 years away from society. And I think a lot of guys, I feel most sorry for, like, those young guys that don't learn that and understand that until it gets too late.
I cannot say that any better. And this comes from someone that served 2.5 years in prison. There's no way to articulate to anybody unless they go through it how boring prison is.
Mm.
Like, you just wouldn't know what it's like waking up every day in the same place, doing the same thing, around people you don't know, watching Jerry Springer on TV. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's like the most, like, especially for somebody that has like a bright mind, it is literally like torture. And I had a cellmate who was a double lifer at 2 homicides and 2 life sentences. I've watched guys with 30 years, 70 years, 13 years. And someone said to me, they were like, well, every black man in the hood before they graduate high school should do a year in jail. And it sounds like the craziest thing in the world. But honestly, if many of these guys had a sample of what it was like, you'd be like, nah, I'm cool. I'm off that, bro. It's like I listen to rap music and different things. Like, I rock to it. I listen to trap music, all of that. And it's like the level of promoting murders and putting money on your head and popping your top and don't play with me is like, and I get that bravado. I come from that. I 100% get it. But the level of consequence you have to face for one of those things going wrong, it's so like, I know guys in my hood where I grew up who we call busting their gun. And they got celebrated in the hood for busting their gun. Like, his gun go off. Like, it's literally like a thing, like you wore a nice outfit because your gun go off. But then the same guy is inboxing me now who's finishing up 25 years of a 25-year life sentence. He went away when we were 19, bro. I think everyone, I've not met a killer yet who went to prison who would not take that decision back, being gangster.
And the thing about it, the real sinister thing that happens in America that we have to fight against by any means necessary is the fact that society sets itself up in a way where they're not hearing from guys like you and I at the way they should. Right. They're hearing from this media that's created a scenario where black people and black culture is this oversold commodity. It's a minstrel show for their entertainment, and it produces a toxic waste product, which is just ineffective human beings, incarcerations, broken families, all that. And it's all dumped on us. It's all dumped on our community. We're the ones forced to deal with all that or figure out what to do with this guy who's been locked up for 25 years away from his kids, but it's created by this commerce, this activity. Okay, this hip hop music industry is very profitable. We're going to find our next kid in the hood. We're going to put $1 million behind the marketing of a message that we know is toxic, but we don't care. Because who cares what happens to a young black male who's influenced by this message? They wouldn't do that to white kids. They wouldn't do that to Jewish kids. Just the idea, we should be offended by the idea that a network like a BET that's not even owned by us, that's owned by the Redstone family, that BET would literally claim to control our culture. That's offensive. Community would never allow me to own a network where I get to decide what their culture is going to be. They would probably have me killed for that. So I think that as black people, we have to start waking up and smelling the Kool-Aid on this and really elevating our thinking. And we have to be fearless with it. We have to get in their faces a little bit and fight our asses off.
I thought about that yesterday. 2 things I just thought about. One is, I don't even know if you could even do it with a movie. I just really wish people could experience just 48 hours of what it's like in jail. Like the whole 48 hours though. So like in a movie, you can't do it because a movie's gonna get condensed to 2-hour edit. So you're gonna think you're in jail in 2 hours. No, I want you to know what a full 48 hours feels like when it's chow's up at 6, lunch at 12, you're in line, chow up again at 5 as your last dinner. So you're eating dinner at 5 o'clock, lights out at 10, and then you gotta have your head on a swivel, worry about this guy, that guy, new guy came in, this guy just stabbed that guy, this guy's in the fight. All of that, trying to get on the phone, phones down. Like, if people got to experience that, it'll reduce crime by 30%. People just don't even know the consequence, and they're so jaded by music and movies. Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, all the newer movies, all of that. In video games, it seems fake until you're really in there. You're like, oh, it happened to me, so I know. After your first month, you're like, all right, cool. 2 months, cool. 3 months, cool. 4 months, 6 months, you're like, damn. You hit that year, you're like, yo, wait. If you got to do multiple years, that's multiple Christmases. You did New Year's once. You looking at last New Year's. Shit, last New Year's I was in here. Damn, last Christmas. Bro, you know what that's like, do that year after year after year? Every New Year's you're celebrating with men eating noodles in jail?
That's terrible,
It would
man.
change people's gangster, I swear to you. And then what we said earlier is people getting more money. You'd realize my life is worth more than me killing you. You know, like I thought about it like people, especially online, even in person though, even in real life, they should not be able to put a battery in your back by saying words to you to make you move in a way that could lose your life and your freedom. Like there's no amount of bitches you could call me or names you could call me that's gonna make me lose my freedom to show you can't call me that.
Right.
Like, bro, are you crazy? Like, you can't put a battery in my back to make me jump out there and lose all that I got to prove to you how big of a man I am. That just sounds crazy, bro. And a real man knows what another real man is capable of. So I never would call you out of your name because I assume that you might do to me what I know I could do to you. And I don't want to motivate you to do to me what I might or could do to you. So I'm never going to disrespect you like that online or in person because I don't want you to take my life and I don't have to risk my life or my freedom and take yours. So that's my motivation for conflict resolution, or just to walk away or to sue your ass. Because I don't want to get into a squabble with you that's going to cause my freedom to be taken away because I know what that's like. See, if I don't know what it's like, my freedom to be taken away with, because all I got is county jail time for 30 days, or I've never been to jail, I got probation. I think it's all fun and games out here. Because I never stood in a chow line at 6 in the morning getting breakfast and saw three guys in front of me get stabbed up in the morning for breakfast. So I think it's sweet out here. So I think I can call you all kind of names because it's sweet out here. Because you don't know what it's really like to watch two guys running somebody's cell and do them in the cell. Like a guy that I have to go in a minute too. I know we didn't get the Kanye coming other topics, but
no, that's okay, man. That's all right. I'm enjoying it.
I had a guy. His name was Mel from New York. We ate together. We worked out in the yard together. We chilled together. I left Maryland prison and I went to New Jersey prison from Maryland, and I got a letter from one of my guys. He's like, "Yo, you know Mel? Mel got life." I'm like, "What happened?" He basically Mel got in a fight with his cell buddy, his cellmate. They got in a fist fight in the cell. He beat him to death in his cell. He only had like a 5-year sentence, had like 3 or 4 years in, was like about a year from going home. Got in a fight with his cellmate, beat his cellmate to death, and then he got a life sentence. Like this, my point is just to be like, this is the reality that our youth, our music, our media need to understand. That the decisions, the words, the consequences, this culture, like, yo, it's bullshit. And then robbing somebody or attempting to rob somebody for some bullshit shoes or watch or chain that you literally can get making a few smart decisions, yo, it's not worth it to try to shine the gram. And to your media point, I just want to say, you're right. If we replace the word nigga in all our rap songs with the word Jew or kike, they would shut down the whole industry and never allow it.
Yep.
We need that kind of sensory that you can't say. If you replace the word nigga with kike, police, Jew, whitey, they would never allow 90% of these songs to ever go out.
Nope.
It's only because they talk about us is okay.
All of that. We're literally the only group that you can say that about. And so you can't say derogatory terms about gay people, trans people, Asian people, Mexican. You can't say, like, we're the only group that's allowed. And, you know, a big part of the reason I think it's also allowed is because the person saying it looks like us. And then it becomes this weird, awkward thing where we get up in arms and offended when a white person uses the same damn words they heard from a black person. You know, and I'm not defending that at all, but it's confusing as shit. It's like, can't we find another way to describe ourselves than by using the word that disrespects our ancestors every day. There's got to be another word you can find in your vocabulary.
Bro, like, what is the value? Do you feel elevated by it? Like, you feel elevated being called a nigga all day? Like, they make you feel good? Like, yo, bro, that don't make me feel good. When everybody around my organization calls me king, every time I walk in the building, hey, what's a peace king, I feel good all damn day. My wife calls me king. My driver calls me king. My assistant calls me king. Yo, imagine they call me nigga all day on my nigga home. What up, my nigga? Like, bro, that's such a low frequency.
Man, it's it really speaks to how much work we have to do. You know, I think that's why I think when you talk about big picture issues like reparations and all that, we're a good 20, 30 years away from that. I think that there's infrastructural work we have to do. There's a lot of work we have to do from a psychiatric standpoint, social standpoint, regain control of the culture. I think that we're going to win, though. I think we're going to figure it out, but it's not going to all happen overnight, you know, and I think that we're planting seeds right now that are really going to sprout in about, you know, in the future. You know, I'm excited about what we might see 50 years from now in our community. You know, I think that we are cutting edge, like people like yourself. There ain't no sharper minds out here than yours. You know what I mean? Like brother Tim Jackson's came in. Tim Jackson's taking on the culture down in Dallas. You know, and it's like, to me, when you're seeing this reemergence of strong black minds, particularly the male as well, the men have re-arrived, and we know what real men look like now. I think that that's going to really allow us to take this setback, and it's going to really set us up for the comeback of the century. I believe that our children, whether they pay reparations or not, whether they acknowledge what they've done to us or not, the fact that our kids are getting this type of stuff at an early age means that we're going to produce some of the most extraordinary minds that you've ever seen. We're going to arm them with not just knowledge, but wealth and resources and community that will allow them to go out and compete and literally dominate everyone else at the economic table. So I'm not worried, man. I actually believe that we have a bright future for that segment of the community that's doing the right thing. Others will come along eventually, but I just think that there ain't no ice colder than black ice. And I believe we're showing up in a way that will make our ancestors proud. You know what I mean? So shout out to you.
Shout out to you. I agree, man. I always commend your leadership. I told you that B1 platform is amazing. I can't wait to the All Black National Convention in Charlotte. I mean, last year I had the time of my life. One of the best birthdays I ever had in 41 years.
Yeah, we sang happy birthday to you. Were you surprised by that?
I was. That was like, yo, that was amazing, man. I had some great birthdays, some great out. That was like literally, it set the trajectory for my next 40 plus years. Really appreciate it. And you're right, though. We are producing some of the best right now. We are literally producing some of the best. We're learning more. Information is opening up doors. I mean, we're getting there, but you mentioned the words psyche and psychology or psychiatry. It's a lot, man. It's a lot in our minds and in our heads that has to be like, that's that redress and that repair, mentally and psychologically, that will allow us even being better parents, like being better parents, being better men. I think how we approach nation building and power is all wrong because we're taught all wrong. I respect. I would never, ever, ever, ever disrespect any of the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Minister Farrakhan or the Nation of Islam. I would build on a quote that he said. There was a quote, I believe, by Honorable Elijah Muhammad that no nation will rise higher than, I think it's how it treats its women or its women or something to that effect. I would build on that and say, though, no nation grows more powerful than its fighting age men. Every nation since the history of nations has only rose to power to the degree of its fighting age men. When Russia invaded Ukraine? The first thing the Ukraine president says, I need all men 17 to 60, all fighting age men to the front line. It's like that in every war. You read the Bible, you read anything. We're let in like this whole like is in equality to me means equality. I mean, between men and women, equality of respect and dignity. But in all manners, as human beings, in all manners, men and women are not equal. We're not equal. They have body parts we don't have. We have body parts they don't have. Therefore, we cannot be equal. We are different. We can be treated equally, equal dignity, right? But we're different. And I believe that our community, our culture, our nation of people, God's chosen people, that we truly won't get to where we really want to rise until we understand that there is a position for and a place and a rank and a responsibility for our men. It's not the responsibility of our women to go fight our battles. It's not their responsibility. God didn't make them in such a way. He made us in such a way to go defend and to go fight. And we have to understand that and start training and grooming our men of that. And so it's a whole psychology behind what a powerful nation looks like. White men understand that. Jewish men understand that. Asian men understand that. And their culture and society understands that. We as a community, we are all confused as opposed to who should be in charge and leading and all these other kind of things. And at the end of the day, it's not about being in charge and men being such leaders that we're just the bosses and do what we say, but we have a responsibility. If our community is not repaired, if our women are not protected, if our children aren't protected, if we don't have clean water in our communities, it's our fault. It's the men's fault. Like one of the biggest, so I'll stop there. But I just think that there has to be a psychology change, a paradigm change, an ideology change. And we have to stop looking through the world of the eyes, not even of Europeans, but of the eyes the Europeans gave us. They gave us these eyes to see the world in this way. This is not how nations are built.
Well, they make us, they make the black man feel like either he's a little boy or a little girl. You know, they there's that infantilization of the black male. You know, I feel that way every time I see some guy that's 38 years old, you know, and he's acting like a teenager. You know, his pants are sagging. He's trying to. What's that again?
Like a little boy.
Yeah. Right. You know, and the thing is, again, this goes back to that so-called culture that they push on us. And what it does is it makes the black male, not all of us fall into this, but it makes some of our men unprepared to compete on any level. Your whole family's under siege. Your kids out in the street, your woman is unprotected, and your community's falling apart. And all you know how to do is complain about it and hope that some other man comes along and fixes these things. And I think that means that you have a lack of understanding of human nature and even basic biology. You know, my father always taught me that the man who's fixing the problems in your house is going to be the man who's fucking your woman. You're no longer the man of the house anymore because he's now the man of the house.
Right.
And I think that unfortunately a lot of our men never learn that. So it does require us to step in. Again, you manifest. I think that when a man grasps his God-like power and ability, one of those abilities comes in the form of the ability to manifest the reality that you want to see present in the lives of the people that you love. When I talk to my son, I'm his bonus dad. You know, he's got a biological dad. He's got me. What I told him was, I said, there's one good measure. This is not a perfect measure, I'm sure, but this is one good measure I think you can use to determine what kind of man you've become. I said, the question becomes, are the lives of the people around me better or worse because I was there? Right? Like a shitty man is a man where everybody's lives, everybody was traumatized because you were beating everybody's ass, or you weren't present, or you were getting high and drunk all the time, or you were financially irresponsible. You've created a trail of trauma all throughout your space. That's not what a man does. But then you've got those men, where at their funeral, everybody's there, saying my life is different because of this person. My life is better because of this person. I'm educated because of this person. This person mentored me. This person helped me out when I was in the spot, right? And as I told him, I said, that's the kind of man you want to be. That's the kind of man you want people to see you as at your funeral. You want people there celebrating how great you are, not people sitting around trying to find something good to say about you when you led an otherwise shitty life. Yeah. And I don't think those conversations happen enough. And it plays out. You see it play out when you're seeing men creating children and scenarios where it's not a family structure that actually works, because you're not even protecting your seed. You're not thinking sort of in a way that in which you understand what your role is in this world. Your role isn't just to run around and get ass and get money and smoke weed and all this other stuff. Like, at some point, there's a point where you have to be responsible for something. And so I'll make this last point, and I know you got to go, but I'll make this last point. You know, there's a lot of conversation on the internet about masculinity, you know, what it means to be an alpha and all this other stuff that's out there. And I would say that if you want to talk that masculinity talk, where I come from, one form of masculinity came in the form of having something that is yours to protect, something that is yours where you have influence and some degree of control in this space. And, you know, like my father, when he tells me about my biological father was a drug dealer, drug addict, went to prison, wasn't present. So I lucked out. I was adopted by a man who overcame drugs. Drugs was one of the big factors that harm Black families. That's why I hate drugs so much, because it did so much damage to us. But my other father was also hooked on drugs, but he overcame his drug addiction and raised us well. And one of the things that he told me that he decided when he met me when I was 2 years old was he saw my mother, he saw me, and he said, "These are mine. I'm responsible for these two people." And that was his territorial macho man, you know, masculinity. Some people will call that toxic. We didn't call it toxic. We were grateful that this man took it upon himself to take responsibility for us and protect us. So to me, when I look at a man, and I think a lot of African tribes think this way as well, is when they're trying to decide if you're a man, they look at you and they say, well, what are you responsible for? Where is your kingdom? You're a man. You have nothing. You have no territory. You have no family. You're not married. They don't even. There's a lot of tribes. You probably know this as well better than I do. There are a lot of tribes where other men won't even have a serious conversation with you if you haven't taken on a wife and children. You know.
The essence of being a man is being responsible for something.
Yes.
Even from a biblical perspective, like, that is literally a man's job, is to cover his wife, his children, his community, right? Like, that's our job, right? Our job as fathers, as men, is to cover.
Yes.
If you have nothing that you're covering, you are lacking manhood, right? It's not about just enjoyment. Like, that's not it. It's literally about, like, and so, to your point, that responsibility, see, when manhood is not defined properly, it gives you the out to plant a seed in a woman and then dip off and not be responsible for the seed, but still be accepted in general culture. Like, a man that's not taking care of his seed should not even be a man that's accepted in our cultures. Like, that's your job, your responsibility. You figure that out. You know what? Oh, my baby mama's crazy. Oh, this and third. Bro, you knew that when you planted a seed in her. Be careful where you plant your seeds. You were an irresponsible farmer, or what we call husband. Irresponsible husband. You planted a seed in toxic soil. So now, take care of the fruit. These kind of principles, though, of manhood, of rites of passage, these kind of principles will produce a better person in our culture than the excuse culture that we have now. And the free-for-all, willy-nilly, do what you want, it's all good. That whole vibe. We literally have run from responsibility, and like responsibility. Like, my mom always said to me, boys do what they want to do, men do what they have to do. And we have a little boy culture. I just want to do what I want to do. I want to party. I want to have sex. I want to smoke. I want to drink. I want to. And of course, to our oppressors, hey, I'll promote that. Party more jewelry, buy more clothes, spend all your legacy life earnings. Cool. Spend it with us. And then, go ahead and get it right back and spend it with us some more. But So yeah, it behooves others, because what does it look like if Black families were, one, reproducing more, not killing millions of babies a year, not letting millions of babies go? What would that look like if we had more sound, astute, raised by responsible men, fighting age men? Who's the benefit for us having a greater population and a greater population of responsible, educated, God-fearing men? Who benefits more from that, and who loses or who is negatively affected most by that? The people trying to control us and oppress us. So we got to understand that it literally is a responsibility of us to create, procreate more, raise more children, have more families, be more responsible. Like, that literally is our responsibility if we truly want a nation build. It literally, we are literally talked and promoted out of family. So being a player, being a Rolling Stone, doing all those things, being a pimp, all those things are promoted in our community and our culture as the cool things. Having multiple women, but women you ain't even taking care of. Having multiple children, but children you're not even taking care of. But that makes you cool because your gun goes off.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're always going to,
that narrative for sure.
Well, they're always going to promote that which keeps the Black man weak, or that which makes the Black man not exist. I mean, the whole objective is to make sure that you never grow into a threat. They want 1 million Malcolm Littles, but they don't even want one Malcolm X. If one Malcolm X was enough for them to get him killed, imagine if you had 1 million of them, right? So when we're building our Malcolm X's, building our young Garveys, building our next, Jay Morrison types in the world, we have to know that that's our job to do. It's not going to happen in a public school system. It's not going to come from some white-owned media outlet. It's going to come from us, right? So that burden on guys like you and I, which is one of the reasons why I love partnering with you, man. And I that wasn't coincidental that you and I worked together. It was very intentional to connect and express support for what you're doing, is because you get it. And I think that does put a heavy load on our backs, where with whatever resources we have, we got to go out here and get the damn job done. It's like you're on the football field, and the team you got is the team you got. You got to sit down with the chalkboard and design a play, and you get on defense, and everybody's got their little area they're gonna cover and do their thing, and I think we can put points on the board, man, because I would put your brain up against 100 white men. You know what I mean? Like, and I will put my brain up against 100 white men. I think that at the end of the day, that's why I know that we're going to win. Everybody ain't going to win. There's going to be some casualties. There's going to be some people that get lost in the sauce. But I think that the community, what we're seeing right now is something that is a revolution. I think it's going to be remembered. And I really think this is just the beginning of the most extraordinary. Like, I think in 100 years, you're going to see young Black B1 people that are running trillion-dollar companies.
I believe.
You know what I mean? And at that point, the seeds that we're planting, the fact that we're documenting our ideas and things like that, you understand legacy better than anybody. I think that those ideas will form a foundation for what they do with that power. It won't be misguided power. It won't be a bunch of rich Negroes who don't understand what to do next. They'll have a plan and an agenda. They'll execute the agenda, and they'll remember what Powernomics was all about. Powernomics defines power as the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. A powerful man can do what he needs to do, and he doesn't have to worry about whether people like it or not. He just does it. So for Black men, we got to get out of the habit of sitting around and complaining about what white people will and won't let us do. Like you said, a man does what he has to do. He finds a way to get it done. He doesn't give up. He's persistent. So these basic fundamental values are what's going to lead us to win. So I'll go to battle with you any day, man. I just want to say that.
Absolutely. So, vice versa, always. I'm putting in a chat for everybody. Dr. Boyce and I, we will be with so many others at the All Black National Convention. That's October 27th to 30th, right?
28th through the 30th, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm putting in a chat for you guys. If you all enjoyed, got empowered by, inspired by any bit of this conversation, I didn't put that. I did. Okay. Yeah, it comes to allblacknationalconvention.com. I'll be speaking, I believe, keynoting there, lecturing. Dr. Boyce will be there. This is one of my leaders, one of my heroes, our heroes. I always tell you, you are truly a pioneer of much of what we see in the Black financial literacy space today. You inspired me, and people call me a pioneer. I'm like, shit, I'm a bit of a trailblazer, but Dr. B, I was looking at him. So,
Wow, thank you
for that great work and selfless work. But guys, come to the convention. It's B1. That's Black One all day. B1, October 20th to 30th. October 30th is my birthday. We celebrating again. We're gonna do something special. I don't know what. But
yes.
It is going up. So
yes.
42 years old, Jackie Robinson style, number 42. Guys, come on out, man. Screenshot this, allblacknationalconvention.com. Participate, learn, grow, network, build. But Doc, thank you. We'll get back on our rotation going live again, man. Salute. Tell the queen, the queen doctor, I said love and greetings.
I sure will. And you tell the family I said what's up too. I'm coming down to ATL soon, man. I'll hit you up.
All right, awesome, man. I'll call you about some media stuff we're working on and just talk some.
All right, I can't wait. All right, everybody, have a good day and good